go home. Yesterday, the Congressional Black Caucus was invited to the White House to meet with the President of the United States for the first time in 4 years. Joining us now, our Democratic Congresswoman Joyce Beatty of Ohio. She is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and Democratic Congressman Stephen Horsford of Nevada, the vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. And Congresswoman Beatty, what was the agenda for this first Congressional Black Caucus meeting with the President and Vice President?
Well, first of all, Lawrence, thank you so much for having us. We had a very clear agenda. We wanted to share with President Biden our 101st objectives, our goals. We wanted to make it clear as we were talking about people, and that included the vaccination, voting rights, civil rights, and jobs in the economy. And we also wanted to talk about the criminal justice system and what's happening with far too many of our young Black men especially being killed. So we had a full agenda of saying, here are our goals and objectives. One of them was to meet with the president and to clearly set up ongoing dialogue with him. We were very supportive of this president. He's been very supportive of our issues. So we wanted to make sure that the executive committee sat down with him to help develop a plan. And we shared a dozen of our top priorities with him. Very clear, we had some deliverables that we wanted to come out of the meeting with so we could continue to build back better.
Congressman Horsford, what did the President and Vice President tell you about their concerns about what's happening in Minnesota this week?
Well, Lawrence, first I want to join with Congresswoman Beatty and the entire Congressional Black Caucus in extending our prayers and condolences to the Wright family. Daunte Wright should be alive today. And what the president said in the opening remarks of the meeting is that this has to stop, that Black lives matter. As a Black parent raising 2 sons and a daughter with my wife, this is trauma that our families experience every single day when we wake up to the news of another Black life lost, killed at the hands of law enforcement. It's why we have to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and the President and Vice President share our goals in making sure that we hold officers accountable by ending very draconian practices like the chokeholds that contributed to the death of George Floyd, and other standards that need to be reformed throughout law enforcement. This is not about one police officer or one department. This is about systemic racism that has to end in this country.
Congresswoman Beatty, what was it like for you to go to a meeting with the President and the Vice President, and for the first time in history, have a former member of the Congressional Black Caucus sitting across from you as Vice President of the United States?
Well, it was very welcoming to have Vice President Kamala Harris there. Was very reinforcing. She's a member of the CBC. She's Vice President. She's unapologetic and very vocal. And we had to talk about, we had to have a conversation about things that could have been uncomfortable for other people. We were very comfortable talking about systemic racism, talking about what is happening today, as you've been covering, as Stephen said. It has to stop. And we have to be in a position, we're legislators. We have to write policies and legislation. Will that stop all of the senseless killings? No. But we have to stand up for the people we represent. And it's happening far too many times. We're at the same time witnessing live on TV the trial for the killing of George Floyd. 8 minutes and 26 seconds was bad enough, and now we're hearing 9 minutes and 29 seconds. So whether it's a $20 bill, a cigarette, an air freshener, this is something that the Congressional Black Caucus is going to be joining with other communities, civil rights groups, to make sure that our voices are heard and that we're going to show our power and our message. This is our 50th anniversary, and we're the largest caucus within the Congress. And this is one of our top priorities, along with COVID-19. making sure we get
Congresswoman-
people vaccinated.
Congresswoman Joyce Beatty and Congressman Steve Horsford, thank you both very much for joining us tonight. We have just arrived at the curfew hour in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota.